Hey, it's Joel Brown, master coach, speaker, and trainer, also founder of Addicted to Success and Mind Strong. Now, the topic for today that I feel must be had is how to stop being indecisive. Now, what is indecision? A lot of people are very much distracted nowadays. People are feeling overloaded. Right? There's a lot of information coming at us on social media. There's a lot of propaganda in the news. There is a lot of stress and fear happening in the economy and in the workplace. And so we tend to overthink our decisions. And if we're not overthinking them, then we are feeling more than anything overwhelmed by the chance that there could be a fear that comes true, right? Like a failure or a mistake, or we could be criticized. And so this leads to massive indecision. Now, when it comes to you stepping out and setting foot on the ground to go and chase your goals and dreams, fear is like the thief of opportunities. We continue to miss opportunities because we're not getting into action soon enough. I remember working with a multi-millionaire. He absolutely has crushed it in his life. And he gave me some mentorship advice. And one of the things he said is that success loves speed and money loves momentum. And I really took that on board. I remember whenever I would message him or email him, he would get back very quickly. And if it wasn't him, it would be his assistant or someone on his team. He really truly believed it was about momentum and not sitting around delaying, because opportunities are coming by so often, especially when you're putting yourself out there a lot, and you don't want to miss out on great opportunities. They could be new open doors to new networks, a bigger net worth, more memories, more experiences, right? There are so many amazing things that could come into play when you get intentional and you move with speed. Also, when you're standing at the crossroads and you are sitting in the emotion and the feeling of, whoa, what if I get this wrong? Or what if this doesn't work out? Obviously, at some point, you have to weigh up your decisions when it comes to something that you are very uncertain about. I think it's foolish to jump into something that you haven't researched or haven't got another professional opinion, somebody that you actually respect, to give some feedback. But mostly what I'm talking about here is when you have had experience in a certain field, when you could be saying yes and taking action, but you are almost paralyzed. In psychology, we call it analysis paralysis, right? And this is where you're constantly in this high activity state in your prefrontal cortex, which is a decision-making executive part of your brain. They talk about in neuroscience quite often, the prefrontal cortex is the one that runs a lot of the big decision-making and the innovation. But if you're in this high activity state, you tend to overthink your decisions a lot. And so what we want to do is we want to calm our nervous system. We want to sit down. You want to be able to center your breath, because your mind follows your body follows your mind. If I can take a big deep breath in and then like you're letting out a tire, just so your teeth close like this, lowering your shoulders as you let it out, right? Just imagine just letting out a tire. It relaxes your nervous system. Your heart rate starts to slow down, which in turn your brain activity can center itself and sort of recalibrate into making a decision that's not so haywire, right? And often we just keep ourselves in this loop, spinning and spinning and spinning. So if you're trying to make a decision and you're distracted with social media and you're worrying about the bills that have to be paid, or maybe your partner is putting pressure on you for something or an expectation on something, and you need to go and pick up the kids or whatever it is, you got all these things going on, then it makes it very hard to make a decision. So you want to get into a clear space by yourself and just center your breath. Make a decision from that place, right? That way it's not going to come from scarcity or desperation or lack or come from fear. You're making it from a place that's more level-headed. What they do find is that those that are in analysis paralysis a lot, that are finding it hard to make a decision, long term, they have studied and found that in long-term patients that there is a decrease in life satisfaction, right? So that's really important for you to know. If you want to live a better quality life, you want to make better quality decisions. And I learned that actually from Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins was on my Addicted to Success podcast. Tony and I have worked together a couple times. We're featured in a film called We Rise Up together. And I got to meet Tony and have a great conversation with him and had him on the podcast. And I asked him, how do we live a better quality life? He said, make better quality decisions, right? But he said, how do you make better quality decisions? You're not always going to get every single one of them perfect. And if you are familiar with the procrastination types, which I've talked about on other videos here on this channel, there are 6 procrastination types. And you can just go to doquiz.com, that's DOQUIZ.com, to take the quiz. It only takes a quick 3 minutes to find out what your procrastination type is. It's a system that I personally have created and have been running thousands of people through for the last 8 years and got amazing results all over the world in live events and online and in my one-on-one coaching practice. But when you do find out your procrastination type, what we do find is that if you identify with one of the types called the Obsessive Idealist, this perfectionist pattern is showing up. And this is when you are trying to get it right and you don't want to blow it and make a quick decision. So you almost overthink it, right? You overcommit into the things that you probably shouldn't. And then you'll sit and you'll overthink the things that you probably should action. And this is why we need wise counsel. I'm very big on having wise minds around me. In the book Think and Grow Rich, I'm actually in the movie Think and Grow Rich. If you haven't seen it yet, yes, they have created a movie based off the book Think and Grow Rich. In that movie and in the book, Napoleon Hill talks about having a mastermind, having people that you can go to be able to bounce ideas off. And if you're trying to just balance everything yourself, of course it's going to feel overwhelming. So have your, I call them my homies, your squad, your SWAT team to reach out to be able to bounce ideas off so that you're not sitting in analysis paralysis. And very quickly, if you have people that are someone that, and I always say this, you want to get advice from people that are living the lifestyle that you desire, right? And if you're getting advice from somebody that is living the lifestyle you desire, they've achieved the things that you want to achieve, or they're living in a space similar to you, and they're maybe another notch up, doing really well, get advice from people like that. Don't go and get advice for investing in accounting from someone that maybe all they've ever done is being a florist. And that's not to knock anybody that's a florist, but you know what I mean? You just don't want to go to somebody for advice that hasn't specialized in building like you have if you are an entrepreneur and you want to be able to make better decisions. And maybe this isn't just a business thing. This could even be a relationship thing. Maybe you're finding it hard to make a decision on the relationship that you're in or the person you're dating. And if that's the case, well, I would say if you're not happy with the things that are going on in the relationship and you've sat down with that person and you've tried to address it, and maybe you've had therapy, maybe you have read some books and sat together and worked through some healing conversations, maybe you've tried to and that person just hasn't come around to it. Maybe they've shut it down, or maybe they just don't have the enthusiasm for it and they're not ready for that. We don't want to drag people into love for us. That's not love, that's force, right? That's very conditional, and it's a destructive type of relationship to be in. So ultimately, you want to set an expiry date, right? And this sounds a bit tough for some people that are in a moment where they're dating someone or a relationship with someone, they really want it to work. If you've tried and you know you've tried lots of different things, the person just isn't in it like you, set an expiry date and say, by this date, it could be a week from now, 2 weeks from now, even a month from now. If nothing has changed, then I'm out, right? It's time to move on. And if you're married, it's a little bit different. There's a lot more that goes into that decision, obviously, especially if you've got kids and a house and everything too. But just generally speaking, if you're dating or in like girlfriend, boyfriend sort of setup or engagement, ready to be married and you're not quite sure, these are the type of things you got to think about. Is, hey, do I have a line, a date set? Because then if you have a deadline, you're not stressing yourself out and overthinking it. You've gotten clear and you're moving with decisive action. You're getting intentional about how you're going to structure your life. People that live in indecisiveness lack a lot of structure in their life. They don't maybe make their bed, clean their room, follow up on their taxes, get their business in order, have their house in order. They tend to be very unstructured, or at least unstructured in some of the really core areas of their life. And so it leaks in. I believe that everything is touching everything. How I perform in my business, what I try and hide in my business will also be hidden and maybe eventually exposed in my relationship. So I'm very big on taking accountability in all areas of my life, all 10 categories of life: business and career, finances, health, romance, family and friends, and all the other categories. So you've got to practice structure. Otherwise, making decisions will become very tough. Okay. So having a deadline is really important. Also accepting the fact that you are imperfect. Like, I want you to imagine right now, and I heard this from another coach. I can't remember his name. He wrote a book and he mentioned this, and I heard him say this quite a long time ago, maybe like 6 years ago. But he said, imagine you getting up and you're receiving an award for being the most perfect person in the world, for never making a mistake. And, you know, he said this and it kind of made me laugh, and it should make you laugh too. None of us are perfect. No one. Nada. Zilch, right? No one is. So when you accept the fact that you're not perfect, that's when you can start stepping forward, allowing yourself to still have a bit of grace and room to make some mistakes. Mistakes are fine. They're lessons, and we get to draw from that as wisdom and have great understanding moving forward. That's how you get better and better. Like Tony Robbins said, to make better quality decisions, you've got to, make some trip ups along the way. So understanding the long-term negative effects that could come into play is really important for you. If you are being indecisive, I want you to really play this out in your mind. Hey, if I sit here and I didn't make a decision on this for another year or 2 years, how could this negatively impact my life? Right? So that's one. If you just sat down and you could draw a line down the middle of a page, and on the left-hand column, you could write all the negative things that could come into play, how could negatively affect your business, your finances, your relationship, your health, your family and friends, your fun and adventure, your physical environment, your personal development, whatever it may be. Really get clear. And it shouldn't take that long. You could write it out in like 5 minutes. But understanding the long-term negative consequences of not making a decision can move you into action. And then just to sort of counter that and look at the other side of the coin, what you can do is you can have a look at, well, if I did make a decision on, let's say you have A, B, C, what you could do is you could write out A on a whiteboard, whatever that decision is, that option is, and you could draw a bunch of lines and then write all the benefits that would come if you went that route, right? So for example, if it is investing $10,000 in the Forex market, right? Well, the benefits could be that I could multiply my income, right? Okay, that's a benefit. The other thing could be I'm going to develop a stronger money mindset. Great. Another thing is I'm diversifying my income, right? Great. And from there you could say, hey, if I could 10x my $10,000, I could put a payment, which is $100,000, down on a house that I like, if that's an option for you, right? So see how you're sort of brainstorming your benefits. And then option B may be launch my business in 30 days. Okay, what's the benefit for that? Okay, and you know what the benefits would be because it's very personal to you, and you could write out what those benefits are, and then you can sit and weigh that up. Usually when we're just so much in our head and there's massive overactivity in our prefrontal cortex, this is where we get into the paralysis analysis. But when we write it down on a piece of paper, you have the negative consequences, and on the other side of the paper were the benefits from each option. The decision starts to become more and more clear. And if you're left with the same amount of benefits and you really can't tell, that's when you take that written up to a few people. I would say 3, okay? Not 1, not 2, 3 people that you feel will be able to give you wise counsel. I am a man of God. I believe that iron sharpens iron. It says this, in the scriptures, and it's really important to get around people that can instill wisdom in you and share with you from a different perspective, because there may be some blindsided things that you might not see. You might have some blind spots there. So it's really good to do that too. That's for the big decisions. But most of the time we can make the decision ourselves. It's just really about censoring ourselves, writing down the negative long-term consequences, the positive benefits and goals that will be achieved from that, and really accepting that we're not perfect and having a deadline on it. So, hey, I got to make this decision within the next 24 hours. If you need to rest on it, and it doesn't have to be made right now, write it all out. Say, I'm going to sleep, and in the morning, I'm going to get into a centered space and make my decision then. It's interesting to see what happens with your brain. Your brain goes, cool, that's the game plan, let's go. Your brain, I say, is like a GGS. That's a goal-getting system. It loves it. It's like a dog chasing a bone. You got to give it a bone to chase. And when you write it out and then you say, and make a commitment, you can even write it down. That's even more powerful. Write down by 8 a.m. tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time, whatever it is, getting really clear, telling your brain with full clarity, I am making a decision on whether I'm going to be going with option A or option B or option C. Great, cool. And then follow through, right? I personally have struggled with indecisiveness in my earlier years of running a business, and it cost me a lot, right? I missed out on great opportunities. I just didn't get into action and sort things out that needed to be sorted, and the mess got bigger and bigger. The fires got bigger and bigger. I had to put more fires out, like different things going on in my business that got worse and worse. And these are like open loops that continue to run. You want to go out and close those loops, okay? So often when we are brought up in an environment in childhood, and this is where the whole procrastination pattern thing can come into play. Remember, go to doquiz.com and take the procrastination quiz. Take you a quick 3 minutes. You'll be able to discover if something from childhood has affected you today in getting into action and being disciplined and being focused and all the other cool stuff that gets you success. And it may highlight to you in childhood that you may not have felt good enough. You may have had parents that were hard on you. Maybe you had to prove yourself to others. You needed validation or confirmation from others. Or maybe you felt like it wasn't safe to come out of your comfort zone, right? Maybe there's this big fear around making mistakes. And maybe you turtle in and tuck away because you're safeguarding your identity because of something you experienced when you were younger, in childhood or in your teen years, or maybe in past relationships. But it's really good for you to take that quiz, doquiz.com. And if you want to learn and also be mentored by me to be able to discipline yourself, to be able to craft a powerful vision, to have me in your corner and a group of incredible like-minded people, then join us in the Mind Strong Academy as well. And we'll see you in there, and I'll coach you each week. If you want one-on-one coaching, just reach out to me. And looking forward to working with anybody that wants to go deeper into achieving more success and getting more structured. Thanks for jumping on. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you also click the like on here and share this with anyone that needs to hear it. Make sure you go to doquiz.com too and take that quiz. Share that quiz with other people too. Your friends, your family, your followers, whoever needs to take that quiz, because it's very powerful. It's changed thousands and thousands of people's lives around the world. Anyway, big love. Start making better decisions so you can live a better quality life.